Welcome to Savor the Story podcast, where books and snacks are life. I'm Nicole.
I'm Vanessa. And here we are.
And welcome. Welcome to our podcast.
Yes, welcome. I woke up with a massive migraine this morning, and it's only mildly gone away.
Ugh.
So,
yeah, no thanks.
Not great.
So do you have any go-to things that you try when you get a migraine? Like drink a gallon of milk or lay upside down or something outrageous besides just I take some Tylenol.
No, I just took medicine this morning, but I did lay in bed for a while and I did my best not to vomit. So there was that.
Yeah.
But after I took medicine, it went away, but mostly. But now I think I'm on the tail end of it. But I'm feeling okay. I'm ready.
That's good. Yeah. I had a friend who had migraines, and he would he'd be like, yeah, so when I get a migraine, I drink a bunch of milk, and then I go lay down, but I have my head elevated at this specific number of degrees. And I was just like, and does that work?
Scientific.
Yeah. He's like, well, it worked once.
Oh,
okay.
That's helpful.
It's like, well,
happy to hear it.
Yeah, it's just that hope that maybe it would work again the second time. You'll do anything.
Yeah,
so I get that.
It. Mm-hmm.
So, well, that stinks. I'm sorry to hear that.
That's okay. Thank you.
So, do you want to talk about your week?
I mean, sure.
Okay.
The only stuff that's worth saying is stuff we did together. So, I mean, unless the only thing that wasn't with you was I forgot to mention last week that I got a new Kindle.
Oh, yes.
I meant to bring it up and I forgot, but I only got a new Kindle because Tim's Kindle was dying and not working right and all that, and so I used it as an opportunity for me to get a new Kindle, and I just gave him my old one. So I bought the pretty new green one, and I love it. I'm so excited.
That's so cool. Did you get a cover for it or anything, or are you just gonna let it free range?
I just used the same one that I had on the other one because they're the same size. It's a clear one, and then I put stickers in the back of it.
Nice.
It's cute. I can put a picture up on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'll add it to this week's post.
Yes, that'll be cute. And see what stickers you have on there. So does that mean Tim has the one with no cover?
Well, so I had another old cover.
No.
It was the one I was using before I bought the clear one. And so I put that one on it for him. So now he has a good cover and a newish Kindle, and he's happy.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I feel like every time I talk to you about stuff like that, like Kindles or covers or cords or something like pens or whatever, and you're like, oh, I think I have that, and you're like, it was in this closet, and so now I just imagine your closet is just like Mary Poppins never ending bag where she just disappears into it. That's what I imagine your closet is.
It really is. It's I know you didn't watch Friends, but if anybody's watched Friends, it's like Monica's closet. She has a closet where she's a very neat person, and so anything that doesn't fit into the whatever, it goes into this closet.
Anything doesn't fit the neat lifestyle.
Yes, and so that's literally my closet is everything. You need a random thing from 2014. I probably have it.
Except for the little screwdriver for your mic thing. That's probably in there.
It might be hiding in the back of the closet somewhere, and I'll find it in 2029.
And by that time, the mic arm will just be all floppy and
right, exactly. Whatever. And then but that's my fun news other than stuff with you.
Yay. Well, I mean, yes, we had fun.
We did.
I'm trying to think because I don't think I really did anything. I mean, I did things. I was alive. I was existing, but it was just like normal everyday,
Yeah.
like going to work, coming home, making
Samesies.
dinner, reading a book. I'd go for a run or take a walk, take dogs for a walk or something like that. But yeah, all the extracurricular activities this week where you were there.
Exactly. The first thing we did was on Saturday, and we went to this delightful little bakery that you found online. And it was very, very good. And we bought lots of snacks there. So those are all going up on the Instagram as well. And then right after that, we went to the bookstore, and randomly, there was a book signing going on. And so it was Lexi Ryan, and the book was, hold on, Beneath These Cursed Stars. She just had a new release, and she was there, and we have not read the other books in the world. I think it's a standalone, it seems like, but it's part of a world from some other books that she's written. We have not read those, but she was there, so we thought, hey, let's do this.
Right. Yeah, I know. Before we got on this, I was contemplating. I was like, should we pretend like we knew about it?
Yes.
We did this thing.
We totally knew she was going to be there.
No. Nope. Not even close.
No.
So.
But she was very nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Signed our books. She wrote I'm assuming something from the book, like a quote from the book in mine. So
I'm excited to read it. It seems good. It seems like right up our alley.
Oh, the fantasy alley, yeah.
So I'm interested to read it, but it looks cute. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know when I'll start it, but it's kind of it's not at the top of my list of books that I feel like I need to read, but yeah.
Yes.
Maybe this year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's still 3-ish months.
Yeah, we've got plenty of time.
Yeah, so yeah, plenty of time.
And then do you want to say what else we did?
Well, you started with Saturday, and I was going to start with Thursday.
What did we do on Thursday?
I bruised my wrists for you.
I forgot. Oh yeah, we played volleyball. Well, oh hey Remy.
Hi Remy.
Yeah, that's right. We went and played volleyball because Nicole thought it would be a great idea to go and just throw balls at me, but I wanted to also hit them at her. And you ended up bruised.
Yes, I've never played volleyball. I mean, I've played volleyball, which does not require any type of. I don't feel really requires the same amount of athleticism or understanding of keeping your arms in a position that the ball goes straight, because it doesn't matter in volleyball.
You just play it off of everything.
If you're wearing a watch and it spikes to the left, you're like, whatever, it's that guy's problem now, so yeah, but I had that weird bruise on my wrist, and I was like, man, I think this is it. But I started out wearing the watch, so I think that's where it was from. But
so really, it wasn't my fault.
No, it was mine. I wore a watch like a bonehead.
Yes.
But yeah, my arm, where the bone is there on the top or whatever, it was I don't want to say tender, but I could definitely tell I had used my arms for something other than existing last week. So
right. That is how my shoulder is feeling this week. So there's that.
Yes.
I did not get the same bruises that I got the first week, though, so I'm already toughening up.
Nice.
I'm ready for the season.
Yes. It may be just one season. We'll see what your shoulder says.
My shoulder might have other ideas.
Be like, no.
It's great.
Yeah. What else did we do? Oh, yeah. And then Sunday we hung out again.
We did.
and we hung
Why
out.
do you make it sound like it was terrible? Like, I can't believe I had to see you again.
All the time.
I know.
And then today, so it's Monday, by the way. So,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
yeah, but I had to hang out with you again yesterday. And then, but we went to brunch with our friend Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
We went to First Watch, and
So good.
I love First Watch. It is tasty, tasty. And I enjoy that they have a lot of vegetarian options. So,
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So when she was like, we should get brunch and we should go to First Watch, I was like, yay, thumbs up.
Yeah, it was fun because we haven't seen her in a while, and because she left us at work.
Yes.
So it was nice. It was fun to get together again.
Yeah. Yeah. She's been like doing vacations and all this other fun stuff. And I was
she's
like,
doing all the things we're not doing.
It's like, dang. She's like, I haven't seen you guys in so long. I was like, but you've been on vacation.
Right.
So, like,
I think it's all right. I think that's the good payoff. Like, I don't get to see you guys, but guess what? I get to go fun places.
She was like, so, yeah, but that was good. It was good to catch up and hang out. So that was nice. And then I came home and I watched the Lions lose. And then, I know. And then I was like, now I'm going to go for a run. And I know I sent you a text afterwards, but I did not enjoy that run.
No.
Part of it, what I didn't tell you, because it's just a by the by, conversational bit, but like I planned the route in my Garmin, and you can like plan routes in the Garmin, and it tells you while you're running, like, hey, turn left here, 200 feet or whatever.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that. Especially running in neighborhoods that I'm not familiar with. That's what I did yesterday. I ran in a neighborhood I've never run in before, and it was a mistake.
Oh, no.
It was all uphill.
Oh, that was terrible choices.
It was literally 7 miles of uphill running in like
what
89-degree weather. That's why I ran out of water so fast. And like I came around and I was trying to get water out of my water bottle, because I had the Camel pack on. So I went through 2 liters of water.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I was like, screw this, I have to run home and get more water and pee, because like I'm about to have an emergency. I'm about to pee my pants on this run. And I got home and I was like, screw it, I'm not going back out, not for 2 miles. Like,
fair.
The balls of my feet hurt and my knees hurt. I was like, this is good enough.
So are we taking this run as like you're going to move forward with the marathon?
Yes.
Oh, yay.
Yes, I think so. I think I mathed it out, and my whole theory of like, instead of just focusing on miles at this point, because I know like I'm going to struggle either way.
Right.
I'm just going to run for time.
Okay.
So I'll do like 2.5 hours next week, 3 hours the week after, 3.5 hours the week after that. And that'll get me up to 5 hours, I think, if I mathed that out right. I'll have to go back and actually look at a calendar, but like 5.5 hours before the run. And if I can do it once, I could probably do it twice.
Okay, so that's the plan. At least once before the marathon, you'll do a 5-hour run.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the plan.
All right. I'm excited for you and this journey. And I'm glad it's not me.
Yeah, nobody is excited for me on this journey.
Tim is.
Except maybe Tim.
Tim is 100% excited for you. Yes. That's so fun.
I'll have to send you a screenshot of my splits from yesterday, my mom, so he could be like, I can't run with her.
No,
nobody can walk that slow.
Great. I can't wait. What was your snack this week? One of the ones that we ate together? Or did you have some sneaky snack?
Well, I mean, I had that apple pie Danish at Val's. the bakery.
Mm-hmm.
I had those cider donuts at First
Mm-hmm.
Watch. I had football snacks.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only other, I don't know, I'm counting it as a snack because you've counted it as a snack before.
Okay.
But I finally finished that Seek lemonade clear protein that I bought like forever ago. And I bought a new one of, I think it's My Protein, their Caribbean punch.
Okay.
And it tastes like fruit punch and it's
Oh,
delicious.
Nice.
I'm not gonna count it.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Shit. Nope. Apple pie danishes.
Okay, good choice. My choice this week is also going to be from the bakery, and it's the monkey bread. It was so good. And Tim devoured his already, and that I brought him home. And then I also have that almond one that I bought, the almond croissant. And this morning he said, "Are you going to eat this? Because it's talking to me." And I was like,
I must silence it.
yeah, I was like, don't you touch my almond croissant. I'm gonna eat it. But yeah, so my rating this week is gonna be monkey bread.
Nice. That's cute and also delicious.
Yes,
I would go there again for more bakery goods, baked goods.
Sure,
but I don't know that I would go back for coffee.
Yeah,
So,
or you just need to order a different one.
maybe.
Mine
I'm
wasn't
willing.
bad.
I'm willing to give it a try. Maybe one of their specialty ones next time or something.
Excellent.
So,
All right, are you ready to get into books?
Sure.
Okay.
Why not?
Do you want to start?
Yeah, I can go first if you want.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to start with my least favorite book this week.
Okay.
I listened to this book. I lie. I keep saying I read. I lied. I listened to this book. It's called Tuxedo Park by Janet Kanat, and it's a history book, and it was not great. But I forced myself to finish listening to it so I would have a book this week. So but before I talk about the book, I will say that this book, and I'm going to ask you this is a question too. Have you noticed lately with like Audible that if you play their books at one speed, they're just super slow? Like the narrator is trying to sound out the words.
So mine automatically defaults to 1.2 now, but it's at a point to where at the 1.2, I have to look and make sure that I'm at 1.2 because it sounds like they're talking regular. And so my only assumption there would be that if I put it at 1, that's how they would be talking, is like sounding everything out super slow, like. Yeah. So now I'm at a point where I have to go higher than 1.2 because 1.2 sounds normal now.
Right.
So yeah, my answer is yes.
Yeah. So I'm glad you said that because I think I had it on 1.5 from my last book and it sounded normal. I was kind of just like, or maybe it was 1.4.
Okay.
And I looked at it, I was like, this is normal. Like maybe it defaulted and I looked and I put it on default and it was terrible. And so I went back to 1.4. I ended up finishing it in 1.55 and I can't, it wasn't so terrible that, like everybody was speaking like this and, you couldn't really tell who, if two people were talking or whatever, it 1.55 was pretty okay. So I've noticed that a lot lately with audiobooks, or it feels like it. And this one was a little bit worse than normal, and I was not happy about that. So when
they know it's because no one listens to it at one speed.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. But I will say that I had still had it on 155 when I listened to our podcast episode that came out yesterday. So when it came on, it was like, and I was like, oh.
So we can't be listened to at 1.55.
No. Okay. Do not listen to us at 1.55.
Fair.
So, but yeah, so this is another book. The description got me.
Okay.
I'm starting to get very Upset. No.
Because it keeps lying to you?
So I went back and I read the description a couple times actually, like on a couple different days, because I was just like, man, how is this? So I thought this was going to be a history book. I thought this was going to be a history because the way that the description is, it's like, oh yeah, this guy was like the leader. I mean, not the leader because it's not a cult, but he was just like a dude who lived in Tuxedo Park. He was probably their most famous person who lived there. And he was super smart. He's a genius. And then during World War II, he helped develop technology for the radar system and also the Manhattan Project.
Okay.
That's the description. Like, he did these things. But I took that as this was going to be like a history of him doing the research of, the radar program and doing, Manhattan Project stuff. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I got into the book, and there's 14 chapters, and the first 7 was a biography about this guy, Alfred Loomis.
Okay.
And I was like, man, when is this gonna happen? And that's kind of why I was saying, like, I ended up just pushing through it because I was just like, man, when am I gonna get to the technology part? Like, because I really, specifically the radar stuff, that's what I wanted to hear about. And so I kept pressing and and then finally the last like 4 hours of the book out of I think a 10-hour book, the last 4 hours were them talking about like the radar and the Manhattan Project. And it wasn't even really that in depth. And it didn't even happen in Tuxedo Park. So it was at like MIT or, different places like that. So it wasn't even.
So it lied all the way around.
Yeah. So, I mean, Alfred Loomis had a laboratory in Tuxedo Park, and he did some stuff previous to World War II. Like, he had this whole like research thing. They spent very little time explaining it. So like something to do with clocks and getting exact timing, like how to get exact timing with clocks, because, back before satellites, they had problems with like pendulums and, things, the earth rotation and gravity would mess all that up. So clocks were never exact, even like the 2 world timekeeping clocks. So he did like a lot of research on how to do timekeeping. And then he also did and helped invented some medical equipment, specifically, what was it? Is it the EKG? No, it's the one that's the spinning magnet.
MRI?
Maybe. So
I don't know.
Yeah. It's the one that does like
Okay.
They can look at your body because of the spinning magnet.
Okay.
Somebody on this podcast help me out.
Somebody tell us.
I'm going to go back and look it up, but by then it'll be too late. So so he had some other stuff, but yeah, that was all, like I said, that it felt like it ended up being more of a biography. And like I said, that's not what I wanted. I mean, he seemed like a really smart guy, and he was like the driving force of getting all these physicists together to do what they needed to do to do the war work. But other than that, like the other 6 hours of like his business practices or his like affairs, like I don't care.
Right. It's not what you expected out of it, for sure.
Right. Yeah. So, yep. So that one I rated 2.5.
Okay. That sounds about right.
Yeah. Not. This book, next book. This one's a fantasy. It's called 1,000 Steps into Night. It's by Tracy Chee. I loved this book.
Yay.
Absolutely loved it. I recommend, and I don't recommend often, but I really. One, I had the Kindle edition, and for all of the difficult words, they had like, because it's Japanese influenced fantasy. So some of the words were like Japanese, and some, and some of them were based off like Japanese culture, and she had footnotes in there where you could click the footnote and it would take you to the back and it would tell you pronunciation. It would tell
Yeah.
you if there was anything like historically, sometimes just like little facts about like, about those specific demons or, because, I don't think she made all of those people up. I don't think.
Okay.
So, really appreciated that. I ended up using it quite a bit. I kind of wish I might buy the book for a trophy, like a shelf trophy, just, or maybe read it again where I can actually flip back and forth every time I see the word. Because even with only seeing it once, sometimes I was like, I haven't seen this word in a while.
You would need to look at it again.
Right, yeah. But, so the book is about a girl, and she lives a very constricting life. She can't leave, is kind of like, she can't leave the house without a man. She can't do all these things without a man with her. And so, but her father and her mother's gone. Her father and her live in this, it's like a guest house. They own a guest house. So they make their money by people coming and staying in their guest house and, stuff like that. Well, her father has a broken foot. So he's like, hey, can you go pick up this new teapot from this guy and then bring it home, but make sure you're home before dark. And she's like, yes, I can. And so she leaves, she comes back, and on the way home, she meets a demon.
Okay.
And
did you say like how old she is?
She's like about 18.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if they ever actually say it.
All right.
But she's not like a child.
Not a child. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but she meets this demon, and this demon curses her for no reason whatsoever. Right. They just meet. She's cursed by a demon. She wakes up, blanks out, wakes up, and now finds herself slowly turning into a demon herself. Shit. Yeah. Wow. So, the first half of the book is her trying to figure out why and how she was cursed, how to break the curse. But the longer that she's cursed and the more that this demon, she becomes a demon, she kind of starts having conflicting feelings because now, does she really need to have a man with her if she's a demon?
Is she enjoying being a demon?
So she's having conflicting thoughts about maybe I kind of like being a demon and having all this independence and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she meets a whole bunch of people on this journey to try and figure out how to stop herself from becoming a demon. She makes a friend he is my favorite character in the book. He's a magpie spirit. He is adorable.
Okay.
And but so yeah, the end of the first half, she's full demon. And so,
all right.
Yes. So now the second half of the book, she's full demon, but there's a catch.
Okay.
They're like, well, you're not full demon until you commit this act. So she's like, well, as long as I don't do that, I still have my soul, my human soul.
Oh,
so
right.
Now I need to find out how to reverse. So it's back to, I'm going to reverse this. And if I can just do these things, but there's a demon prince now and he wants her help to do demon things.
Sure.
Like taking over the world. Because what else do demons want?
Right.
So basically that's the second half of the book is her, figuring out how to walk that back and stuff like that. But I won't give away any more of the book.
No,
it was super adorable. It was slow in some spots, but it wasn't anything that I wasn't, there are a lot of characters.
Okay.
Because she meets a shit ton of people. Like I said, lots of uncommon words. But her support characters are wonderful. The story was wonderful.
So definitely not one to recommend on audio because the words unless you had the paper in front of you, I guess, where you could see what they're talking about. Yeah.
Plus, without knowing about audio, maybe there's more I don't even know if it's available on audio,
Oh,
but
sure.
like,
But
I don't know if they have multiple people talking.
oh, right.
I think I would find it extremely
Right.
confusing
Right.
without that.
Yeah.
But in also the ending was pretty perfect for for what her, like I was saying, her main problem at the beginning of the book was a very constricting lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
and so the ending is great, and it's a non-romantic ending.
Okay.
So it was perfect, even perfect without that, which
Yeah.
books can be. But
Right.
yeah, so there's a couple small twists in there that I did not see coming, but I wasn't. I also wasn't looking for twists.
Sure.
I don't. I don't usually read like that, so
Right. I don't think I do that either, where I'm like, what's gonna like what big thing is about to happen? Like, I just want to read for
Right.
enjoyment, and when the twist happens, then you're just like, oh my god. Unless
Yeah.
of course you're reading a mystery, then you're looking for it.
Right.
But
yes, yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's it. Those are my 2 books.
What did you rate it?
And sorry, I was like, wow, those are my 2 books. Goodbye. So I rated that one. I had written down 4.25 to 4.5, but I think
Okay.
I'm going to go with 4.5.
Okay.
Now that I've really sat on it.
Yeah.
4.5.
Yay. That's great.
Yes, it was a great book.
Did you have another thought, or was it the thing that you remembered was that you had to rate it?
Yes.
Okay.
The thing I remembered was I had to rate my book.
Okay. Great.
So 4.5 apple danishes.
Excellent. I'm so happy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you haven't really had, I mean, you had the first book of your last series. You think you rated it a little bit higher, but I just feel like a lot of your books lately haven't been super high.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, last week and this week I've gotten pretty lucky. So
Yay.
Fingers crossed.
All right. Well, I will also start with the one I didn't like as much, and then I'll go to the one that I really liked.
All right.
So the first book I listened to, it was a sister book club.
Surprise.
Surprise. And it was called My Best Friend's Exorcism.
Yes.
So before I get into any of it, I will say I only picked this for one reason, and it was because one of the true crime podcasts that I listened to, called Morbid, they just did a crossover with another podcast that I listened to called Two Girls, One Ghost, and they're a paranormal podcast. And they did like a crossover episode where they reviewed this book. They did like a little mini book club read, and I really want to listen to it, but I didn't want spoilers. So I was like, I guess I'm going to have to listen to it. And so I made my sister do it too.
Nice. I mean, why else do you have a sister?
That's right.
Right.
Read the books with me and talk to me about them. Okay. So I'll tell you about what it's about first before I tell you what my thoughts are.
Okay.
Okay. So it's set in the 80s, and it's like the most 80s you could ever 80s.
All right.
It's very, very much. So it's this like little group of friends. They're in high school, and they go on a trip to this cabin. Like they're most of them are rich, and so they're like at their parents' cabin in the woods. And something happens while they're there. When I say something happens, like, we still don't know. Like, at the end of the book, you still don't know exactly what happened out there. So something happens, and one of the girls, Gretchen, afterwards, she starts acting different. And so she starts like doing things to people around her, starts being a little bit more mean, starts being like just different personality. And then her best friend, Abby, realizes like what's going on. She like goes through all of these things of like, oh, it could be this, it could be that. And ultimately, there's only one explanation, and it's that there's a demon in her.
I was gonna say,
obviously,
like, how long did it, like, well, maybe she's just tired. Like, does she need a snack? Like,
Okay, so that goes into my thoughts on it, is that it took
Okay.
much too long for her to realize, and for a book that's called My Best Friend's Exorcism, it took forever for her to
Like,
realize that she was possessed.
like they were trying to be like ultra realistic. They were like,
Yes.
so if it was a normal person, I would never assume demon
Right,
first
exactly.
or even 50th.
Right, exactly. So it was like even okay, so a little bit of a trigger warning, but at one point, like, it was, they thought that she was raped out in the woods,
Oh,
and so
jeez.
they were like, they had these she kept referencing, like, in 17 magazine, it tells you, like, what are the signs when someone is raped, and it's like they start disassociating from, like, from their friends. They start, like, all of these things that how they could react to something, and she's like, well, she's doing all of these things. So then she thought that for a while, and it just, I don't know, it took much too long. um and it was very slow, and I don't know if it was just slow because, like, it took forever to get to, like, she's possessed
Right.
realization, but it was so slow. It was like, it took forever to explain things. It like over explained a lot of things. Like, I just like, their lives as high schoolers, and I was like, I don't fucking care. So
Right.
um all of that was really long. um so ultimately I ended up rating it like a 2.5.
Oh, wow.
My sister rated it a 2.
Oh, wow.
So she also felt the same way. It was like, yes, it only gets 2.5 monkey breads. I don't know, maybe 2.25. I feel like 2.5s might be a little high.
What?
Because ultimately, like, it was all right, but it was much too long. Like, it didn't need to be that
So,
long.
like, if they would have just been like Demon 1, like,
Right.
that's the first step. Always assume demons first.
Always
The
assume demon.
the book would have been like 200-page shorter.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And then there was this one part that I had to point out because my sister and I both had the same reaction. So it's not really a spoiler, but I'm going to tell you a little bit. It's like something that happens, like, further in the book.
Okay.
But there's this guy that, like, ends up ultimately helping her once she finds out that she has a demon. And he's the guy that's going to help her with the exorcism. And he's like this, they never say his age, but I assume like mid-20s, like
Okay.
around mid-20s. Really buff, like he's a bodybuilder, big guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps referring to his dad as daddy. Like,
Hmm.
okay, you gym bro, like, whatever, I don't know, man, why are you calling him daddy? I was like, cringe every time they said it.
Yeah, that's
And
weird.
my sister said that she was offended every time. She was like, every time he said daddy, I was offended. I was like, that is fair, because it was terrible. So that is the only, like, spoiler I guess I'll give you, but it was I don't know.
That's interesting.
But now I'm very excited to listen to the podcast because I want to know how the three of them felt about it. So we'll see.
Nice.
Yeah.
If they have the same remarks.
Yeah. My sister was like, I need one of them to be on our side. They can't
Yeah.
all three love it. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
But
I'm interested to hear.
I didn't have time to listen to it before we recorded today, so
Well, once you listen to it, not
Mhm.
them. Once you listen to it, I'm interested to hear what they
Yes, I will share.
say. If
Okay.
any of them agree with you.
Right. If any of them are on our side or
Validation.
not. Yes. Okay, so my second book. I loved it. I ended up loving it.
Nice.
So my second book is called Daughter of No Worlds, and it's book 1 of a trilogy by Carissa Broadbent. So she is the author of Serpent and the Wings of Night, which is like a
Oh.
big
Mm-hmm.
TikTok book right now, or book
Mm-hmm.
talk book. I actually read that at the beginning of this year and really liked it. So this trilogy of hers, it's been out. I think it's older than the Serpent books, but I just came across it and was like, "Ooh, a good trilogy right now," because I've been reading a lot of standalones and I needed myself a good series book. So, but I'm sad because I started it early enough in the week because my thought was like, "Oh, I'm gonna love this. I'm gonna get through all three of them before we record, so I can talk about the whole series." And then the first like 30%, I would say, was
No.
like, it was just
Oh.
slow. And so it got, once I finally got to that point, I like finished it super fast. But by the time I got to that point, we were too late in the week and I couldn't get through it fast enough. So I am through like 35% of book 2 now, but we're not going to talk about book 2 today, only book 1. Next week I will have 2 and 3. For sure we'll finish them like super
Already throwing
fast.
it down. Yeah.
Yep, I will. I know I will. So the only reason I would say that I'll tell you what it's about first. Before I start telling you what my thoughts were. Okay, so this girl, her name is Tisana. She was stolen as a child to become a slave for these like group of slavers. So the
Okay.
slavers came to this little town and they took, it's like a small village, and took a bunch of the girls from there. Like they bring them in and then they make
Yeah.
them like dance and they make them do things or whatever, and
Yeah.
they make money off of them. So she's taken at, I think she's like 13 or something like that. And then at the age of 21 is when like the story starts of her. That's what the prologue is talking about how when she was taken. And so then when we come to present day, she's 21.
Gotcha.
And she buys her freedom. And after she buys her freedom, she goes to this land that she wants to, it's like the land of like the big magic. Oh, it's a fantasy book. I guess I didn't say that. Um but it's like this magical land, and she wants their help to come back and save all the other girls that are enslaved. She basically wants to fight for justice. She ends up getting help from this reclusive warrior guy.
Oh.
His name is great. His name, they call him Max, but his name is Maxentarius.
I can see why they call him Max.
Max, It's really funny because at one point in the book, he goes, "Please just call me Max, or else we're just going to be here forever trying to say my name all the time." So he's very aware. Anyways, so the whole idea is that she wants the Order to come and help her, but ultimately the Order doesn't necessarily have their intentions out in the open.
Oh, so they're being
Um,
sneaky.
sneaky. So, the reason why the first 30% or so was hard for me or slow for me is because you're kind of just thrust into the world. And so a lot of it is trying to figure out like, what the hell is the Order and what are these slavers doing and why do they need these kids? And like it was hard, like it was slow, and it
Gotcha.
wasn't like a full world building. It was just kind of like thrust in. There's these words, there's this magic, there's this like all this stuff, and it was just kind of hard for me to grasp onto it.
Oh, so you're saying the book is slow because it was difficult to get through, not so much the book was slow because nothing was happening.
Right, like yeah, stuff
Gotcha.
was
Okay.
happening. It was slow because it was me trying to figure out like, what is this? Who is this person? What is this
Mm-hmm.
magic? Why do these people matter? Like
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. So I think maybe something that would have helped going in is like a world map, if we would have been able to just see like that all these kind of places exist in it, it would have helped a little bit. But once I got into it, I'm fully invested. And also the longer I think about it, the more I love it.
Nice.
So, Maxentarius Farleone is the cutest the cutest character ever. I really love him. He's adorable. Oh, and so it's not YA because there is cussing, and there is one scene that is not YA.
Well, it's very spicy.
But it's literally one scene, and it's not the most graphic. It's like somewhere in the middle. Like it's not nothing, but it's not the most graphic thing. It's somewhere in the middle, but it's not very much.
So it's again Peaky Door.
Yeah, a little bit peaking, but maybe a step above that even.
Gotcha.
So one thing that I ended up loving about Tisana and Max that's super different than most other books is that they're just like honest with each other about everything. So it's like the miscommunication trope is not present here, which is great.
Nice.
I feel like a lot of times in these fantasy books you find there's some like, oh, I don't want to tell them about what happened because I want them to be safe, or like I don't want to hurt them, or like I'm scared about what's happening to me, so like I don't want to share it because I'm scared, I don't know what it is. They literally just talk about everything, and it's so like refreshing to have that. They literally like help each other with everything. They talk through it. It's great. I love that part of it. There's one part of it that's like slightly unbelievable, a little bit cheesy, but I accept it and I love it and I need more of it, which is that they just know each other really well. So there's a lot of like unspoken things that happen between them, and they just kind of can read each other.
Oh, okay.
And I just think it's really cute. Like it's adorable. They're just adorable. So, and then the first half of the book is from Tisana's point of view only, and the second half of the book is a dual point of view. So, like every other chapter is between her and Max.
Oh, okay.
And then in the second book so far, I won't really give too much of that one yet because I haven't finished it. But there's a third point of view in this one, and at first I was like, that's not what I want. I don't want that shit. Just give me Tisana and Max. I don't need the rest of it. But now that I'm like much farther in, I'm enjoying that third point of view. So I'm excited to see how it goes. So I rated it 4.5 monkey breads.
Ooh, we had like the same ratings this week. Wow.
So yeah, I would say the only reason it's just that first like 20%, 30%, that was a little bit slow. That marked it down the 0.5%. But yeah, like I said, the more I think about it, the more I really loved it. So I'm super excited to finish out the last 2 books of this.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe finish them all out, so that way I know if I need to read them all.
Yes.
If I need to read them all, or I can just read one.
If you could just read the first one. Right. If you get to a point to where you just need to read the first one, you could read it and then I'll tell you what happens. And then you don't have to read the second 2.
Okay, that works.
All right. That'll be like our thing that we do.
Yeah. I just read some of it and I'm like, yeah, just tell me what happens.
Just tell me.
That happens so much though, because I'll read the first book and then I'll go look at the second book and I read the description and then I'm like, I can guess what happens. And then I don't read the second book. So.
Right. Okay, that's fair. All right. Are we ready to do our discussion, or do you have something else first?
Well, actually, I was perusing the book talk, and I saw, if you want to call it book news, it's not really book news, but I saw a post, and I was immediately like, I have to I have to talk to Vanessa about this because you read both these books.
What happened?
So on Book Talk, I was watching a video. I do not claim to know because, like I said, I haven't read these books.
Mm-hmm.
But whoever is the person who put the post out, which I'm sure was more for clicks and people to argue, but it was their name is Book Hoarding Dragon.
Okay.
And they posted, I think it was actually 3, but 2 of the books I know you read was claims that these 2 popular books are actually ripoffs of other books.
Yep.
And so the first one is Hunger Games.
Mm-hmm.
And that one is a ripoff of the book Battle Royale, which I think Battle Royale is actually a whole series. I think there's like 10 plus books. And then Fourth Wing is a ripoff of the book Fireborn. Now, I have done no research to substantiate these claims, but I was like, you know what, I'll at least throw them out into the universe to you. Yeah. And if you choose to read either Battle Royale or Fireborn and make that connection, yes. So that is my request. Is it a request or am I challenging? My challenge. It is my challenge to you. It's someday. It doesn't have to be next week.
I don't know if I'm going to jump into Battle Royale with 8 books.
Right.
Maybe not. But the other one, Fireborn, I feel like I've heard some things about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough to like be able to talk about it right now, but right. I feel like I've heard like
something similar.
Yeah, recommended it. If they're like, if you like this, you'll like
right,
this.
Yeah. If you then
Yeah. So, but I mean, honestly, at this point, you could probably find a little bit of another book in every book.
Right.
So unless it's like the same storyline completely, I give quite a bit of grace there, I think.
Right.
So
just because you have dragons doesn't mean the book is a ripoff of another book. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because I think it's hard. Same with movies and stuff. Like, it's hard to have a completely brand new, like, you can't have everything brand new, or that would mean you're just like making it all up, right? Like you're making up new animals, you're making up new magic, you're making up new, like, literally everything. So, all right.
Okay.
Thank you for the challenge.
Right.
I may or may not accept it.
It's too late.
Oh, I see.
I'll tell you what, if you can get a listener to prove it is true,
all right,
or not true, and then it can't be Tim.
Oh, damn it.
Then you're released from the challenge.
All right, fine. Please, someone email us. savorthestorypod@gmail.com. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, it's a favorite.
Okay.
What is your favorite reading memory?
Ugh.
Okay, I'm so excited because listen, when we wrote these down...
You already have one?
Yes. So when we wrote these down,
right,
I immediately was like, oh, I got one. I can't wait for us to pull this one. But I will say it's not a full me memory. It's my sister's.
Mm-hmm.
I was just there. So
fair.
I will come up with one just for me. But while I guess I'm going to think and talk at the same time, while I'm thinking of what my own memory is, I'm going to tell you what my first memory is.
Okay.
So it was like, there's going to be spoilers, but this book came out in 2007. So if you haven't read it yet, I don't care. It's for House of Night.
I don't feel bad for you.
Yeah, right. So it's the books are the House of Night series. So for anyone out there, if you don't want to have spoilers, there's about to be one at least. So I still lived at home. Like, both my sister and I still lived at home, and our bedrooms were like kind of next to each other. Mm-hmm. And she was reading book 2 of House of Night, and all of a sudden she just starts bawling
Oh
and
no.
screaming for me. And she's like, Vanessa, come here. So I run in and I was like, oh my God, what happened? Like, I
Yeah.
thought like one of her friends died. Like, what is going on? And she goes, Stevie just died. And I was like, oh my God.
Who the fuck's Stevie?
No, I had already read them.
Oh.
I had already read them and I was like, oh, it's okay. Like, Stevie, it's okay. She'll be back. Don't worry. But it's like one of my favorite memories ever because she was so distraught and just like it hurt her to her core that Stevie died. I had to like console her and just tell her like it's okay, just keep reading, it'll be all right, because she comes back in that same book.
Nice.
So I just every time I just think about like some sort of reading memory, that it just flashes, it's like it happened yesterday. It
Nice.
just, it's so great. I loved it so much. She just needed her big sister's help.
Tell me it isn't so.
Yeah. She was so sad.
That's funny.
Yes. So do you
Well, luckily you were there and
Yes.
she didn't have to live with the
Right.
the not knowing.
Yes, for another like 10 chapters or something. So
Right.
that series is like, I think it ended up being like 10 books or 12 books or something
Oh,
like
wow.
that. It ended up being crazy. I would say like the first 5 are really good. I did end up finishing the series, but I didn't, as it got further, it was whatever. But I would still recommend them if anybody wants like some YA fantasy. They're pretty
And you
good.
want 10 books
And
of
you
it?
want
Yeah.
10 or 12 books ahead of you, then, or just read 5 of them, you'll be fine.
Right.
But yeah, House of Night series.
Thanks.
Yeah. Do you have any?
Totally. So there was this one time
Uh-huh.
I looked at a friend of mine and I said, hey, do you want to start a podcast about books?
That's your favorite book memory? Or the one you're regretting?
It's my panic memory. You were like, what's your favorite memory now? And I'm like, panic. So I think I'm going to disappoint you this week.
That's all right.
I don't think I can't think of a favorite, but probably just maybe my first or earliest memory.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's a first and earliest because it happened so frequently. It was like my go-to. It was just, I just remember being a young child and I'd have all my pillows and blankets stripped off the bed, stripped off the spare bed, like in a pile on the floor, and every single stuffed animal that I had ever owned stacked around me and just reading books.
That's not disappointing. That's a great memory.
So at least, yeah, I mean, it's not anything crazy, but it's definitely like a comfort memory, maybe. Like, you know, that's why it sticks in your brain because it's, you know, like what is a comfy go-to space? And sometimes it's just like being surrounded by stuffed animals and a comfy blanket.
Yeah.
And, you know, and now that I'm older, I'll go and lay in bed in my blankets and I have Remy.
That's right.
And I'll read books there. So maybe I haven't changed that much.
Right.
So
it's just you replace stuffed animals with your puppy.
Yeah. So
I actually do have, I think I have one memory that's not, you know what? It still involves my sister, but it's not, but it's not like her memory.
Okay.
Whatever. But it also ties in nicely to what, kind of what we have to talk about next. So back in the day, you know, when we were
youngsters,
so
youths,
in the early aughts, they used to have, I think they still do them kind of, but it's not the same experience at all. They used to have midnight showings of movies.
Oh, yeah.
And it was in the time before you could pick your seat beforehand and buy your seat beforehand. So if you wanted a good seat, you had to get there early, or else you were sitting in the front row.
Yes.
And so back in the early to mid 2000s, they were doing this all the time for like the Twilight movies, Harry Potter movies, like all of that. And so some of my like favorite memories, we did it for it was me, my sister, and one of my best friends at the time, for the last 4 movies of Twilight. So we didn't do it for the first one because they didn't do the midnight showing for that and whatever. But we did it for the last 4 movies, and I'm pretty sure I did it for one of the Harry Potters. But at the time, because it was so massive and so crazy, like for a midnight showing, we got to the theater at like 3 p.m. And so, and there would be like,
sit there.
There would be like 50 girls, usually 50 girls just like sitting out there, and we were not even the first ones that got there at 3 or 4 p.m. We would be like 20th in line. And so
Jeez.
But it was like when it wasn't freezing outside, it was great. But basically, like, it would be this line of girls literally just in chairs and blankets and stuff. Like, there would be people that are like rereading the books out there. Everyone out there is literally just talking about like what our theories are going to be, like how are they going to show this scene and how are they going to do that, and like talking about the book and talking. It was like such like a little fandom community.
That's cool.
That was like, it was really fun for us to do that. And I mean, it's not the same anymore. I feel like it was because of all of those that they decided to do like the assigned seating. Yeah, they were like, we can't have 100 people sitting outside at midnight.
Especially not like 50 13-year-old girls.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. So but I like that. I feel like it's related to a reading experience because it's literally like a big fandom of these books that people like we just sat and talked about for like 5 hours before we went and watched the movie for the first time. So it was really, I kind of missed that a little bit. I don't know that I would do it now, but maybe it depends on what it is, but I wouldn't do it for everything.
Yeah,
but
maybe
really
if it's
fun.
like a whole series, you know what I mean? Like if you're gonna do like, I don't know, because I feel like people did that first. I remember people doing plans of mine going to see Star Wars. Yeah. I know that's not a huge amount of book back then.
But it's the same idea.
But same thing. Yeah. Like the community and getting, not just getting there early to get a seat, but also going to see other
talk
people
about it. And yeah, I think when the last movie came out, they did like a whole thing where you could buy tickets before, and you would basically watch all the movies leading up, and then the last one started at midnight. So like that was an option too, but we were like, we're not gonna sit in there and watch all of this over, and like, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, that's another memory.
That's
so
cool.
That feeds into some of our podcast news.
Yay, podcast news.
Okay. So our podcast news is we are going to start posting episodes that we are calling bonus bites on the first of every month, and it will be every episode will be one book that we fully deep dive, full spoilers, full everything, break down everything, all the thoughts we have and all of the things.
Even bad thoughts. And our first book that's going to come out on October 1st is Twilight. And I want to point out, I feel like this was Vanessa's pick.
So the reason I picked Twilight is because it's one that most people have read. So unless you're Nicole.
Or at the very least seen the movie, probably.
Right. Yeah.
Which I haven't done that either. So
it's full. Yes. So yes, either seen the movie or read the book. So you're able to listen and won't be spoiled. So I wanted to pick something that was like that. It also was a little bit of me trying to get Nicole to read Twilight.
Yes.
And also because it was how I started with fantasy. So it's like I'm fully aware that we're going into this knowing that you're probably going to hate it and may even hate me.
You know, get through like the second book and like, I can't do this anymore, Vanessa.
Right. So I actually talked to my sister about it today, and she goes, "Are you even gonna make it through the whole series?" And I was like, "I don't know."
Well, because not only that, but you are gonna reread them too. It's not just Nicole reading them; you're gonna reread them too. So
it's been some years, so I have to reread them.
Yeah, especially if we're gonna do a deep dive.
Yeah.
So yeah, my copies showed up today, like an hour before we sat down to record. Like. Giant box came and I was like, oh, I know what this is. Like, and I didn't realize that, I guess I wasn't paying attention when I bought them, but they're all hardcovers. So like, I was like, dang it.
Well, October 1st is our first one. So make sure you follow us in your little listening app that you listen to us in. Then you'll get notified when we post that one. And then the idea is that every month we will post one more book. So we will get through the Twilight series in January 1st will be our last one.
Yeah, we're just doing the 4 for Twilight, right?
Yeah, just the 4. And then we'll go into the next one. So once we figure out what our next one is, our next deep dive, we are going to let you guys know so that if you haven't read it, you can read it with us.
Because that's my pick.
Yes.
And I'm not going to pick something old. I'm going to pick something new.
Right. So we're going to have to give you enough time so that you can read it with us. And so there won't be spoilers when you listen to our episode.
Yeah.
So that's our news. So with that, go follow us on Instagram at Savor the Story Pod and answer our questions on there so you can be part of our discussion and you can see our teasers and stuff that we're posting before the episode post. Go to our website and fill out the little form there and send us an email from there at savorthestorypod.com. Yep, that's our website. It's also in the description, so you can go down there and click the link and it'll take you right to it. Send us your book reviews, your book recommendations, your snack recommendations, all of the things. And that's it.
That is it.
The end.
The end. So, that being said, get out of here.
Okay, bye.
Go. Leave. Come back next week.
Leave.